what is the reason why this system is corrupt? And the reason, in my view, why it's corrupt is that it violates a very basic idea of a representative democracy, which is we're supposed to be equal citizens in a representative democracy. So when you've got a system where you create basically a money primary, which determines which candidates get to run for office, and candidates who want to run for office spend 30 to 70% of their time competing in the money primary to raise the money they need to be able to run to office. But the only people who get to vote in the money primary are the people with lots of money. That's an obvious violation, denial of the equality of citizens. It's like in the old days in the South, there used to be a white primary where only whites got to vote, and then the candidates were selected, everybody could vote for. Everybody gets why that was a violation of equality. Well, this is the same idea with respect to money. But once you see it as a problem of equality, the equality of citizens, this inequality is what makes this corruption possible. There's lots of ways in which our system denies equality of citizens. I'm not talking about equality of wealth, which is a separate issue, and I'm strongly frustrated by the inequality of wealth too, but that's not my point. My point is, when you build a democracy where you deny this basic equality, what you do is make a democracy ripe for the cronies to take over and corrupt the system. And that's exactly what we've done.
The only thing that as you talk, I can just see people with their rebuttals, people saying, first of all, money's free speech. Second of all, isn't that sort of the American way? When you have money, you do get the goodies. You get nicer cars and nicer houses. And what sort of sustains us is the idea that, well, I may not have that today, but I'll have that tomorrow.
Yeah, but I'm all for the idea of people creating different amounts of wealth, and I'm not talking about equalizing wealth, right? I'm not talking about Sweden.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, separate from your ability to get rich and my ability not to get as rich, there's a fundamental idea from the very beginning of this republic that when it comes to citizenship, when it comes to your role as a citizen, money is not supposed to matter. The framers of our Constitution were pretty blind when it came to race, and they were completely blind when it came to sex. Even though Abigail Adams was everywhere, they didn't understand women should be equal citizens in this society. And of course, they didn't even know what sexual orientation and equality would have been. So they were blind about equality in 1,000 ways. But Madison, in Federalist 57, when he's describing who the people are who Congress would be dependent upon, said, by the people I mean, quote, not the rich more than the poor. Right? So from the very beginning, there is this idea that when you create citizenship, it's an office which all of us get to hold as citizens, and we get to hold it equally. And the idea that a rich person has more power just because he's rich inside the democracy is completely antithetical to the tradition of America.